Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and man, I appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to watch today's video and spend some of your time with me. And guys, today at the time of filming this video, tomorrow is the 1st of February, unbelievably, and we're going to talk about what I think are the best lures to fish in the month of February. The thing about February, this is what I call a big transitional month, because depending upon different months of the year, sometimes the fish make real gradual transitions into different patterns and different baits they prefer. But February marks a very big transition. There's a noticeable change in where the bass live at and the types of lures that they prefer in the month of February. So I'm going to go over some of my favorites here, some of the ones that I do really good on in February, and sort of explain to you guys the scenario that I like to fish them in. I think it's going to add up to some good fish for you guys. Also, guys, before we get started, quick reminder, you guys have heard me talking about it, but we're getting ready to start up a live stream here on Intuitive Angling. And the live stream is going to be for channel members and Patreon members of the channel. This is going to be a chance to interact with me and shoot me all your questions. We'll have good conversations every week on the live stream. So if you're interested, guys, just go to my YouTube homepage, click the join button to check out the membership options, or you can go into the description of my video and join the Patreon program there, and you guys can get hooked up and join me with the live stream there. Really appreciate that. Okay, February, one of the things about it, guys, I fish in cold weather a lot, living here in the Ozarks and like doing on the water lessons and filming, and I always have, but I hate fishing in cold weather. I don't like being cold, and February is sort of like that month where it starts to change a little bit. And February is also, it starts to get that time of year where you catch some bigger fish consistently. I think myself that February, especially towards the end of February and into March, are probably two of the best months to catch the biggest fish of the year. And I want to go over some of the ways I like to approach it here and the baits that I use. And also, guys, before we get started on this, all the lures I'm going to be talking about today, I'll link each lure in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video. If you guys would like to use my link there to buy some of these baits that I'm talking about, that's much appreciated. Using that link's a good way to support the channel, and I really thank you. Me and my family appreciates if you guys do that. Okay, let's start in here. I'll just no random order. They all can be just as good as the other depending upon the situation. Now, the first one is I've got this love-hate relationship with this bait. Basically, I hate it more than I love it, but it catches a lot of big fish in the month of February, and that's just the old Alabama rig. Alabama rig, I think personally, February is the best month to fish it in terms of how the fish position to be caught on an A-rig. I've caught some big bags of fish on it in the month of February, almost anywhere I go. And one of the things that I'll give you guys a little advice on an A-rig here is as time goes by and as the fish get more smart and conditioned to A-rigs especially, they prefer a smaller size A-rig. So when you're buying A-rigs, and like I said, I'll link some of my favorite A-rigs in the description of the video, but when you're using an A-rig, especially in February, go to a little bit smaller one. See, these have got like, 4 or 5 inch wires on them, and they've got these little 2.4 inch Kytex on them. But the little bitty swim baits on the smaller Alabama rigs is a good way to catch a lot of fish, and big ones. Now, when you're talking about fishing an A-rig in the month of February, a lot of it, again, depends on the type of lake you're fishing. If you're fishing a grass lake, obviously over grass, you can catch them on it. But as far as traditional lakes, one of the things you have to remember about A-rigs is you want to concentrate on more vertical structures. So your, deeper points around the drop-offs of those points, channel banks, bluff banks, places that slope quickly into deeper water are going to be really, really good for an A-rig. And also, one of the things you'll notice about A-rig fishing in February, you are always going to do better on some type of a windy day. I prefer some type of clouds. You don't necessarily have to have it, but you have got to have you got to have wind to have really good A-rig fishing. That's when they fire up on an A-rig more than anything else. You can go out on just a typical February day, and if you don't have much wind, especially if you got a little bit cleaner water, you're going to struggle on an A-rig. But if you have some wind, it can really light them up. So A-rig is one of my favorite baits for February. Next two, guys, we're going to be talking about two different type of jerk baits. Now, jerkbait fishing is really good in February. One of the things that you'll notice is the transition to the bass preferring a larger size jerkbait in February. A lot of you guys have been watching my channel for years. You know that I talk about fishing small, downsized jerk baits in the middle of the winter time. As you get into February, I'm a little congested here if I sound funny. As you get into February, and as that water temperature starts nudging towards that 50-degree mark, they want a larger jerkbait. So the two that I use, guys, is the old school Magnum Rogue. This is the big Rogue, I think this one is almost 6 inches long, or 6 inches long, and the Megabass Vision 110+1, the deeper lip here. These are my two favorite February jerkbaits. Now, one of the reasons I like the 110+1 is this is about my favorite month to fish it, is a lot of those bigger fish, they are starting to come up shallower, but they're still hanging out a little bit deeper. So say in January, you've got some big fish that are out in 25 or 30 foot of water. Once that water starts getting up close to 50, those bigger fish want to start to move up. They're not moving up really shallow yet, but they start to. And I want that jerkbait to get a little bit deeper in the month of February. So that's why I go to the bigger lip, the 110+1 Junior. I can put this on 6 or 8 pound test, Seaguar and Vizex fluorocarbon line, and I can get it down 12 or 13 foot pretty easy. So that's a good zone for it. And for the Rogue, I don't know what it is, guys, but these old Rogues here, they work good in February. You make sure you weight them where they just slowly sink or they suspend. And especially if you have a lake where the fish don't get quite as deep. Say, for example, more of the southern tier lakes like, you know, Sam Rayburn in Texas, a big Rogue is great on Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, you know, all the TVA lakes, those southern tier lakes in February, for whatever reason, they like the profile of this big Rogue. I mean, it's about the only time of year I do use it. And this big Rogue is the only other jerkbait I use besides the Megabass, and I only use it pretty much in the month of February there. Okay, the next one, February is a good jig month, but like the winter time, when I start to get into February, I'm still not using a full-size jig. I'm still using a finesse jig. Got my Blaukat Power Finesse throwback jig here. I'll link it in the description. Living rubber frog hair, a ball head jig, a little finesse jig is great in February. Any type of brown combination, brown blue, brown purple, green, something like that with a green trailer. Again, concentrate on the steeper rock structures. Probably my favorite way to fish a finesse jig in the month of February is like channel ends, like say for example where you're fishing a bluff bank that's coming close to a point, really good place for a finesse jig. Any type of a steep rocky bank, riprap bank, 60-degree angle rocky bank that's got some deep water next to it. Just fish that finesse jig in anywhere between 3 to 15 foot of water, depending upon your water clarity. And finally, guys, the last one that I catch a lot of fish on this time of year, especially towards the mid to late part of February, flat side crankbait. This is my favorite, guys. This is the Megabass Flap Slap. A flat-sided crankbait is one of the first crankbaits that start to work in cold water, especially in February. Now, there's a couple more. I catch them on a speed trap, and I'll catch them on a wiggle wart and a rock crawler. But these big fish love a flap slap in February. Once that water temperature starts knocking on that 50-degree range, take the flap slap, put some suspend strips on it where it just barely sinks. You don't want it to float up, and just crank it around shallow water. Crank it around shallow rocky banks, over the top of grass beds, parallel steeper rocky banks like riprap with it. Sort of fish it like a cross between a jerkbait and a crankbait. You don't want to just throw the flap slap out there and just reel it in like this, but you want to reel it down like that and sort of twitch it around a little bit like a jerkbait, reel a little bit, twitch it around. Just fish it with a slow medium retrieve. And guys, those cold water February bass will hammer a flap slap. So anyway, guys, that's just a few of my favorite A-rig, jig, big jerkbaits, bigger jerkbaits, and that flap slap or flat-sided crankbait. Excellent lures in the month of February. One of the things about it is there's a big difference between fishing in the first part of February and the last part of February, and a lot of it has to do with your weather patterns. Because like right now in Missouri, we have an Arctic, there's an Arctic pressure system that's like sitting on top of us, and it's been here for 2 weeks. So depending upon your weather patterns, some of these may or may not be more productive at certain times of February, but regardless, I catch a bunch of fish on these 5 baits. So hope it helps you guys out. We'll talk later.